plethora of skill development schemes have been announced in 2017-18 in the budget. Sankalp, increase in Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Kendras from 60 to 600, establishment of 100 international sales centers. How are the proposed initiatives different from earlier proposals?
You see, the biggest challenge for us was there were 24 ministries, 50 odd departments, everyone doing skilling on their own way. So ever since this ministry got created 2.5 years, we have been able to create an ecosystem for skills. The language is defined, the parameters are defined, the outcome is defined, the process is now in place. So with all these schemes, we have, after 2.5 years, we have started rolling out schemes because the structure is in place. And this structure is an answerable structure where you and me can physically check the outcome. Earlier, the schemes, I would not get into many more ministries which were doing it, but the outcome was never defined. Anyone could do it in any form, create a qualification for it. For us, it was the biggest challenge is first to look for those people who have to be trained. And we have to be very clear that this is not high-end educational skills. We are talking about entry-level skills. When we talk about 400 million people, the unorganized workforce, these are the people who are actually the workforce, who have their original skill and need to be reskilled, and those who join the workforce for employability.
Okay.
So this is basically entry-level skills. We are talking about in the slab of employability, which is the largest, 80%, between 8,000 to 15,000. If they are good beyond that, they keep on migrating up. So this was and now the government of India, from day one to now, the total overall budgetary allocation from government of India, which is with us now, is to the tune of 32,000 crores.
Yeah.
But this money has come to us. We are also answerable for this money. And since there was no ecosystem existing earlier, we are very cautious with the first base of training which takes place, whether it is International Skills Center, whether it is Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Kendra, whether it is Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Kendra. Now these PMKKs which you come across are the benchmark of short-term skilling at every parliamentary constituency. So if anyone walks in there, others have to match that level of training and process. So the processes are in place. We have one weak point which we are trying to is the quality assessment, the assessment process. That is a weak point. How it has to be done, where it has to be done, who are the people who are going to be doing that, what are the credentials for the people who are going to do that, the people who are going to be trained, Aadhaar, seeded, and identification, everything, and the process and everything. But we require another 2 to 3 months to settle down on the assessment and quality process, which we are going in a big way. We had a major constraint with the Quality Council of India, which is a government accredited body, but we are actually not happy with, because that is not with my ministry, that is with the Ministry of Program Implementation, DIPP. But we are able to do that. So I am now 2 years down the line. Whatever, it may be slow initially, expenditure, but we are very sure in a year's time you will find very good results coming out.
When you talk about this program being more at the entry level, the industry requirement is of higher skilled people. So how are you catering?
No, I am absolutely in disagreement. When you say high-end skills, means specialized skills.
No, see, incremental skills.
We are talking about incremental skills.
Yeah.
When we are talking about a person who is a bar bender, he is a mason, he is a plumber, we are identifying them. We have, if you look into the qualification packs, we have around good 600, 700 qualification packs, which are actually on a day-to-day demand. So, high-end skills are very specialized, and that require a lot of investment. But we are talking about whether it's a retail boy, and now it is just not the manufacturing or the industry side. It is also services. Now, services as a vertical is a huge creator of jobs. And that we are also focusing equally. In the overall ecosystem of skills, which you call specialized skills, was confined at the entry level with ITIs. There are 13,000 ITIs. I personally believe that ITIs, the process of training in ITIs had been compromised. This is the first year we are completely remodeling and revamping the whole ITI process, and this is something which is most important. And if you look that ITIs, which were 2-year course, 1 year or 2 year course, there were 126 trades, where we have about 2.3 million students. Out of those 126 trades, there are only 10 or 11 trades in which 90% of the training takes place. Rest 116, no one does. That was a flawed ecosystem. And I would like Atish to give you the list how it.
So then, how closely is the government program aligned to the private sector and job market requirements?
Yes. Now, the whole process prior to the creation of this, there was always a statement by the industry that we do not require highly qualified people. We require hands-on job people who know exactly what we are calling them for. And that is why the whole concept of sector skill councils emerged. Now the bodies, there are about 40 of them, and 21, 22 are doing very good. The rest are trying to pick up. Sector skill councils are not headed by the government. The chairman is a private body. For example, I just completed a meeting with Mr. Ajit Gulabchand. So he's the chairman of the construction sector skill council.
Yeah.
Similarly, we have Dr. Trehan. He is the chairman of the Health Sector Skill Council. And you keep on looking into leather, it is Mr. Singhania and so, many people.
Yeah.
Now, these are industry conglomerates who decide what kind of a training in their industry is required for what kind of persons. And that qualification pack is created and mandated by them. And then it gets to be approved by NSDA under the NSQF alignment scheme. So the whole process is in place. So, and when the training, anyone who wants to do that training will have to do exactly in the same process as defined by the industry.
Industry.
Mandated by the industry. The process, they can mandate X, but the process of training can be, the whole process has to be created by National Skills Development Agency.
What are the biggest challenges in achieving a government Skill India target of skilling 40 crore people by 2020?
You see, this figure must have come because this is the people in the unorganized sector. And when we talk about the figure of 40 crores, it couldn't be, no scheme ever can take care of 40 crore, but this has a reason because last 67 years, skill was a part of education. So everything was focused in and around education. We have extracted it out of education. We have set up a vertical on it, and we are trying to create a parallel vertical for skilling ecosystem, training ecosystem, which could, at this stage when you're talking about dropouts are being taken care by the National Skills Development Corporation through the NSQF. Then we have 8th pass people who go to the ITIs. Now they have their own process, 2-year course. They get an ITI degree. Then we have 2 10th boys who go to ITIs, 2-year course, they get an ITI. But so far, the boys who were given ITI certification at 10th, they were not treated equivalent to matriculation. First time we have introduced that.
Okay.
And the +2 were never given in equivalence to +2. So now we are introducing that. So first time ever in the history of India, skill in ITIs is being given equivalence of formal school education, which has never happened.
Okay, yeah, that's a very great improvement.
So, and then we are also trying to work to see that dropout, trained, he survives in the system, does 2 years 10th equivalent, does 2 years 12th equivalent, 1 more year diploma, 2 more years graduation. So let there be, what happens today is the specialized skilling which you're talking is picked up from the top, +2, and you go to an engineering college. So the gap of basic training, how you hold a spanner, what is the requirement, how you move a lathe machine, all those 100 things is lost. So the theory part is taken up by engineering colleges. As a result, out of 1.8 million seats in engineering colleges, more than 0.8 million seats are vacant today.
Correct.
You look into the question in Parliament. And those who also have come out are not employable or employable, underemployable, they're getting 10,000, 12,000 as an engineering. So this flawed ecosystem, we are trying to build it up.
So when you talk about accreditation of these, evaluation of these schemes, these programs, are you setting up a separate board for it, and what is the contour of this board, and how are they going to
that the whole process, we were thinking of setting up a national accreditation board, certification board. It has the whole process now, the consultation is on with the PMO, because earlier when ministry was not there, NSDA was there, NSDC was there. Now a whole a structured certification body has to be created. So it's been discussed, announcement has to be made, the formulation is yet under consideration. So whether we have to bring in ITIs also in it, whether we have to have just the formal skilling, short-term skilling, so that just in the process, in the next 3 to 4 months, we'll be able to do that.
Okay.
But we have to be sure what we are doing because that's going to affect large number of boys.
Correct, correct. The government has set a target of creating at least 10 crore new jobs by 2022. Even as there are an estimate 30 crore among the existing workforce that require further skilling, that they are underskilled or they need to be upgraded. So how is this?
We have a whole
challenging?
program of recognition of prior learning where the existing trained workforce is mobilized, identified, the credentials are checked, they are they are retrained on a short course, assessment is done, and thereafter after assessment they are provided a certification. So this is as far as recognizing their existing
skills are
concerned, which does not get captured anywhere. Beyond that, as far as connecting them to job, I still feel that entry-level jobs are in plenty in India. Only specialized and high-end jobs may not be there.
So at mid-level, how are you making a provision for reskilling of the people?
We have the whole
existing?
plans on every sector, whether it is plantation. We are doing about 60,000 rubber tappers in. Atish, you have to give all the figures of all rubber tappers, goldsmiths, RPL car, and they are doing exceptionally well. Gems and jewelry. So the existing, so we have numbers, and you must find time to read through them how beautifully they are being done. So there are many sectors. I would not be able, but you have to give ma'am the list of the sectors where we are moving for
Reskilling of
the existing workforce, and there are huge numbers. We have a target of about good 30 lakhs, and we are moving on that.
Okay. The National Skill Development Corporation had come under some cloud few years back on issues of accountability and discrepancy in the number of people who have been made job
Absolutely,
ready and had got jobs.
absolutely. The whole system then was a riffraff. Now we have been able to completely the STAR scheme, and followed by that the PMKVY1, for which you may have seen some items.
Yeah.
It took me a while to put a robust, foolproof system, and I can say it with authority that the existing 10,000 crore PMKVY2, we have been able to sort out the leakages or the quality of the product by 80%. 20% is still trying to fine tune. So I am confident. I can confidently say that, and this, because of this, many other spheres which were having a not so very correct, I would not say corrupt, but not correct ecosystem for skills is shaping up. So this particular thing, I am confident, and that the reputation which was there, the PMKK and the PMKVY2 is more or less foolproof. There could always be issues which we are addressing.